What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Childish. We're back at it again with the next episode of Educate, Dominate, the one-on-one interview series where we take some of the top names of the game and get their insights so we can bring your game to the next level. My next guest is one of the top gamers out there, top 100 Guardian 2 player on the global side, Karanthir. How we doing, my man?
All good. Thanks for having me again.
Thanks for having you again. And again, guys, if you guys haven't tuned in to the Educate and Dominate beforehand, Karanthir was our sixth guest on the Educate and Dominate, getting it started all the way about 4 or 5 months ago. It's super exciting to have you guys, everybody back on board. We've had a lot of people return guests. So we've had a lot of people come in and state that they wanted to have you back. So we have you back. Let's get right to it.
Yay.
All right, all right. Okay, so why don't we get going? I know we got a lot of things to cover here. One of the biggest things that people still talk to time and time and again is the arena offense meta. I mean, we have a lot of people that have commented in previous videos, but as you know, that I respect everybody's opinion and love to get your insight on the arena offense as it is today and how you've been able to counter the meta offensively and both defensively.
Okay. So that's obviously a big topic right now. But let's start with offense.
Okay.
Like the offense right now, it's because it ties to the defense as well. Like how the way the offense meta works translates into how the defense meta will work to counter that offense. So offense wise, buff removal. Like it's something that Varian hit like ages ago, but it took a while to catch up to his mind. It seems. Uh, but yeah, buff removal. Tiana, Praha, even Juno is seeing play. Obviously, Chiwu. Yeah, Chiwu,
She
the
was up in
the
there, yeah.
fire pioneer. Yeah, all of these guys seeing lots of play because it's finally like the time to end Chloe, it seems, and all those immunity buffers and all that, and the bruiser comps. So that's the answer. Buff removal. It seems. Even what's the Wind Brownie's name?
Aquila.
Uh, Aquila, whatever. Yeah, he too. He's also sort of viable. I don't like his skill synergy, but at least he buff removes. So that's the new buff removal meta. That's what everyone seems to be trying to do. Lucian, double Lucian is still there, but like if people can, they try buff removal. You can see Scats AO with oh yeah, the Wincy Emperor. He's very good at removing buffs, and it makes for some really. Galleon also helped a lot in this because of his third skill. So that's sort of what brought this meta in. All those buff removers and Galleon make for some really fast AOs and generally safer than Lucians as well. Because if you lose one Lucian, you usually lose. So with this, it's kind of safer, especially if you have Zyros too. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's in pretty short terms. This is the AO meta right now. In AD, to counter that AO, well, you don't. Perna is kind of like for those of you who don't have Perna, you can rejoice. The age of Perna is not over. Perna is still great, especially in Guild Wars, but he's not like the number one amazing super duper monster anymore. He's still good, always will be good. Like his skill set is crazy, but he's not the one all win all monster anymore. Which is for me, it's good to hear because I'll never get him.
Well, you can always hope now. Come on. There's a unit that I'm scrolling down to that you didn't think you were ever gonna get, and you got him. So
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about him
we'll
too.
talk about him in a
Anyway,
little bit. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Perna is not 1-0 win. Chloe is not obviously because of all the buff removal is not the best. Uh, so what to do to counter all that buff removal? One good way is Verdahile. He's making a sort of comeback in ADs because usually you want your you want your AO buff removal comp slightly slower, so that enemy buffer buffs, you remove buffs, proceed in killing them.
Right.
Since that Verd usually comes between, so instead of buff your let's say your Chloe buffs, then the rest of your units are a bit slower. Buff removal comes in between, kills your units. No, Verd stops that. Like you don't run Chloe because you don't want to bait more AOs with buff removal. And you run Verd, who increases your attack bar in between and lets your units have a go at the buff removal comp before it has a chance to remove your buffs and kill you. So that's one. In general, attack bar increases. Like the king in this aspect is Orion, which unfortunately I do not have.
Mm.
But he's crazy, crazy, crazy good right now. Like the fact that he removes buffs, he applies debuffs, he applies defense break. Like Theomars and Orion are a scary, scary combo. Um,
Now,
Orion is also good. Yeah, Verd,
now
and also oh yeah, go.
I was going to ask you a question about that. A lot of people have definitely, Orion's definitely making a big impact in the arena offense and even so much on the arena defense. Um, you say Orion is number one, and obviously, people don't have that option. Maybe, Vertihill's the next way to go. But considering the fact that, Orion, depending on how you set him up and whatnot, Orion's, available skill, the ability of, providing harmful effects and getting the attack bar boost. Would you would you be able to agree or disagree on the fact that Vertihill could probably be right up there with them, if not higher, just for the fact of your pure consistency of manipulating the attack bar? Or do you still feel that the every three turn harmful effect plus the attack bar is still the way to go if you're trying to play with some kind of attack bar manipulator in your team?
If I want to say that if you're running Theomars, Orion is probably a better fit, and since mostly everyone runs Theomars, because he has two ways of applying defense break. He has removed debuffs, so you have a chance to break down the AO comp because those buff removal comps are kind of unit. Uh, I don't know how to say, like integral. Like if one unit dies, you have a high chance of losing the offense. So killing one of those units is something Orion and Theomars or Orion and I don't know some other bruiser or nuker do very well together. Whereas Verd doesn't do that as well because he doesn't provide for debuffs, and I think it's a smaller attack bar buff. I want to say that, but I don't remember.
I
But
think.
it's close anyway.
Oh, I think Orion's 30%, and then
Verd is 32, is 40
or
or something.
22
20.
times. Yeah.
Yeah, so 40. But you might use first skill, so.
Right. Right. Right.
And, but yeah, and the extra thing with Orion is his first skill too. Like I've had so many Orions like use first skill, and I'm like, yeah, he used first skill. He didn't fuck me up with his third skill. But then because of the brownies passive on the first skill, he just procs. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Gets you every time. Gets you every time.
Yep, every time, every
That
time.
that has to be the one unit when I see it in the arena defense. I before I even get into the fight, I just cringe because I know it's gonna go so
Yeah, yeah,
bad.
yeah.
You're like
A-
you can't predict it.
And Orion also has defense break on his second skill too, which is not great because it's a one turn one, but it's still a defense break. Like it's pretty good.
Now
And
let's throw this curveball at you. We've had a lot of people that have been testing Orion on Swift. I kind of made the comment about how I feel where Swift can be, a great scenario when you're trying to, utilize it on the arena offense because you can control it. But because there's no, if you're trying to, use a unit for everything that it can, arena offense and defense, I still think that the Violent is the best way to go. What's your thoughts on Swift versus Violent on Orion? I know Vertihill's been
mm,
testing it out a little bit.
it depends on your runes pretty much.
Right.
Like if you have, I don't have an Orion to show you or something, but like Mevrid has one, for example, and he runs his violent focus because he doesn't really need any other two set. Like you might as well put some accuracy on him for the debuffs.
Right.
Maybe will, but he's supposed to be fast. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And just make him crazy fast. Like, don't care about any other stat. Like, Beveridge, I think, is 250 something on
Yeah.
Violent or 230 something. I don't remember. Like,
I
a friend of mine's is also like 234 before on Violent. Like,
yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like, you can have Violent broken. That's Swift is sort of a PV set
Right.
for the
Yeah.
most part.
I think remember it's somewhere in like the 240 something. It's something crazy. I haven't seen a faster Orion on Violent.
No, it's
Other than
crazy. Beveridge is crazy. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, that's an extreme example. But That's I use it to showcase of like it depends on your runes pretty much.
Gotcha.
He's a very strong monster. On AD, it's definitely worse on Swift because he fucks up a lot. Like he seems to have an equal chance of using all three skills.
Hmm.
So if you don't get lucky and he uses first skill and then doesn't get a proc off that, you're screwed. Like you lost if your AD set up like that. So violent is sort of better, gives you that extra chance of playing again, which is nice.
For sure. And with regards to the current meta and whatnot, looking at your units and whatnot, you got obviously a lot of units here to make a lot of combinations. But if you had to say one team was your kind of go-to team as far as getting the job done, what would it be?
AO.
Yeah, for AO.
Oh well, yeah. Let me just get this little bit in about AD as well, and then we'll
Oh,
go
okay.
to AO. AD, like the third unit, that's also it's a bit rare. That's why I don't really mention it. But I've happened to have it, so to people who have it, might prove helpful. It's Molly. Molly is the light mermaid. Yeah, you can see her right here. She's kind of underrated because her passive is kind of weird, but it's crazy against those cleave comps, those in meta right now, those meta comps, AO comps, because it's an unresistible permanent effect that doesn't care about immunity. You have a 20% chance to glance straight up. Like, if imagine if your Zyros glances on all four targets with your cleave comp, you're fucked. You're
Right.
gonna lose. Like you're not gonna win. No way. And I've had people tell me that it does happen. Not that often on four targets, but it does happen very often. At least one of the targets is gonna get glancing. So another very very good. And she has crazy like if she goes violent, she can heal up targets a lot. And she does have debuff removal, a shield, and buff removal on her first skill. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
So,
Yeah. It's a high chance too.
yeah, so that's Molly. That's a little side note to you who have her. Don't give up on her. She's really interesting. So that's that. And she mostly needs speed. Like just get a lot of speed on it to get more value out of the passive. So on AO, my AO, like obviously since I have Tiana centers around her, uh, the way I play it is I take all my nat fives except Chow and Vela, and I pair them with Galleon and hope for success. The way I set it up is I took Charlotte for her leader skill, 38%, and I made her Despair Will so that she can weather the starting storm. And I made her as like she does some damage to complement the the normal damage of the comp, but she doesn't do too much in order to not proc Nemesis runes and get between her and Tesher. So and Tesher, he used to be like 95% crit, 200 crit damage or something. No, 194, something like that. So now I made him an AO monster only. Like I don't care about the rest, just AO. So you'll notice he has 63% crit, one more than he needs with Charlotte leader, but it's good enough. But he has plus 56 speed, so he's crazy fast
Right.
and pretty decent crit damage. So Tesher is the nuker, obviously, with 100% crit. He goes last. Like Tiana goes first, removes all the buffs. You'll check her runes out. The way I played her, a lot of people play her Swift. I play her with a triple two set, which is interesting in that it helps me weather the starting, like if the other person is faster or whatever. With Endure, she does not. Endure was a thing against Orions because Orions kept removing her will and then buffing and then stunning her. That doesn't happen, not nearly as much now, if at all, which is really nice. Will is for obvious purposes, and shield is so that the rest of my monsters, if they get targeted, they have at least a small buffer. It saved me from triple crush Theomars a few times.
Yeah.
Uh, so, so yeah, speed, HP, attack. She does quite a lot of damage, max skilled. Like mine does 15k, 16k to Chloe's with her second skill, since Chloe's really fast and it scales off speed. As she also, and as an added bonus, she also has 100% crit since Charlotte is a leader.
Gotcha.
And then Galleon. So Tiana is like at 187 speed. Then Galleon is at 173. Charlotte is 168, and then Tesher is 167, 65. They're all really close in speed, and the turn order is simple. You just Tiana. Uh, they all use their third skill pretty much. Charlotte also decreases attack bar AOE, so it's pretty much certain that nothing is going to get between her and Tesher.
Yeah, I can't remember what month that was where they made that change and added that attack bar decrease. I really like that.
On
I don't.
Charlotte.
Yeah, I don't think.
She had it like I got her. She actually had her first her 1 year birthday just got passed. Actually, I got her on the 15th of October last year. I think
Nice.
she always had that. I think maybe before that I didn't care about it, but I think she's always had it.
I remember the
I don't
glancing hit, but
remember.
the attack bar I did not remember.
Yeah, maybe they added it in some when they changed Rika as well. They did some changes to Rika. I think
Yeah.
they changed the fire one, not the wind. I don't remember. But anyway, it's really cool. It helps me out, and the crit chance allows me to go for other stats that I need more. The improvement that I'd like to make is get a bit more speed on my Tiana without losing too many of the other stats that I want, because she's currently a bit slow. But it's decent. It's decent. I'm fine.
Right.
And with I max skilled her as well, so she does proc defense break a lot too. So that's nice.
Yeah. I was gonna say, and it's a great thing to point out here. I know Forrest was a big advocate of this too. You know, there's a lot of people out there that we hear these, specific rune sets, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let me go ahead and use that." But as you can see, guys, right here again, this is a prime example of why you shouldn't rage when you get a random will rune or an endure rune. If they have the subsets that you want, keep them around. Take advantage of all of these rune optimizers that are out there so you can kind of see what you want and get the runes in there so you can basically make it do what it do. It's funny because when you look at stats like this overall, you're like, oh, 89 speed, he probably got a swift set or whatever, swift will or something like that, and then you look on it and obviously it's a mixture of a lot of things, which is great. So
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. You can see Matesha has broken set as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
I wish he had will, but I couldn't get the stats I wanted with will, so
right.
I just put some broken stuff on him.
Almost 3,000 attack and 200 crit damage. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. All right. So now we kind of looked into your arena teams and whatnot. Let's go ahead and hop on over to our Guild War picture real quick. We're back. So yeah, we got ourselves the Guild War team and whatnot. A couple of these units we've kind of already discussed, but as far as the new units, ooh, you know what? Um, well, okay, we'll go ahead and I guess we'll go ahead and talk about it, and then we'll showcase the runes. I know we haven't spotlighted Village or your newest unit, so but
But
as you
go check the runes and you can post a picture on the on the video, like edit it in. It's
there we
fine.
go. We should be good. Let
People,
me see.
yeah,
There we
yeah.
go. All right, so let's get in there. The newest, the latest and greatest, Mr. Villageable. Hit me with it.
So pretty much, it's a pretty standard setup I did for him. I kind of copy. I sort of, Kali-sam. He's the leader of AV. Well, until
Yeah,
yesterday, I think
Kali-san.
he stepped down a bit. Yeah, he's his first Nat 5 was Vela, and I've seen a lot of discussion and discussed with him and Mike, the scat fetus,
Hmm.
on Vela, on how to rune him, what to do with him, etc., etc. So I kind of had a lot of ideas in mind, and I kind of just copied Khalib since we worked on that setup together. So I don't go for that much damage, though he does have 54 crit rate with Theomars on AD, on guild defense, that's 78. Some okay crit damage, nothing great. And then lots of defense, lots of HP, lots of speed.
Yeah,
And will. And will.
gotta have will. Gotta have will.
Yeah, you gotta have it. Yeah. And
Now,
then, yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead. No,
go.
go ahead. You're good.
And yeah, speed, defense, HP, violent will, pretty standard stuff. Some of his runes, like his 3 and 5, I hope I could make a bit better, but that's we can always get some improvements, obviously. But yeah, I really like him as he is right now. Just want him max skilled.
Gotcha. And so my question for you is, there's a lot of people out there that have been fortunate enough to pull Velajuel. In your scenario, like you said before, you kind of go with the hybrid format. I know we talked a little bit about hybrids with Jakeem in the last episode. What's your
Hmm.
take on the up and coming players that may not have the rune sets that allow you to get the substats, the stats that you want within the subsets or whatnot? What do you recommend for people coming on board trying to, improve their, arena or guild wars whatnot? What do you think are some of the top sets? If they can't go with this kind of a hybrid format.
So if they have Velajuel, you mean?
Right, right, right.
Uh, I would just go with the same setup or similar. Like you can do guard or broken or whatever instead of will. Doesn't that matter that much? But will is rather good. And then just forgo the crit rate. Like you'll see, I've tried for some crit damage and crit rate on a lot of my stuff. But just forgo the crit rate and the crit damage, and just aim for those speed, HP, and defense stats pretty much. It
Gotcha.
shouldn't be too hard, and you'll gradually get upgrades. Don't worry about damage until you actually can. You'll notice my slot 2 rune, my speed rune has 22% defense. Like it's made for Velajuel.
Right.
But
It's perfect.
I'll try to get defense subs to amplify his damage as well wherever I can. But a new player obviously can't do that, so you don't have to worry about it. Just just go speed defense defense or speed HP defense, and yeah, go for it. You don't have to be. It doesn't have to be like a multitasker. Just start off by having him remove your debuffs, boost your attack bar, remove some buffs, put some dots up. He already does so much stuff. You don't have to make him do even more if you don't have the runes. Don't rush, as always. Never rush in this game.
Gotcha. Going on to the first team that we got right here, you're using them in this comp with Theo. I mean, obviously you could talk about it. What I like about this one too is that deception. Obviously you have him set up in such a way, that he's very, very fast and speedy. But I feel like there's a lot of people out there that, if they do decide to, if they, let's say they don't have the speed based runes and they got, something that they can do, play around with them like in a YOLO format. I find that a lot of people, when he pairs up with Theo, I find that a lot of people kind of leave him on the sidelines. They think Theo, 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 when in all reality, they got to be concerned about both of the units.
Yeah, yeah. And he gives Theo immunity, which is really good.
Right.
And he boosts his attack bar. And he removes buffs on opponents. Maybe immunity. He might remove immunity, and then Theo can go crazy. So I currently don't like Chloe in this comp because it feels like I'm double dipping, but I don't have anything else. I'm going to test stuff. Up until I got Vela, Darian took his place in that comp, and my Darian has like plus 50 speed, I think, so he goes right before Theo. Also benefits greatly from crit, so they work very well together. I just threw Vela in there. Like I don't really like him yet in there because he's not max skilled, but I've seen some decent results, so I'm not taking him down yet. But yeah, what you said about like, off-putting people, I'm pretty sure he's already done that, judging from my logs. But yeah, I hope in the future I can take out Chloe from that. Maybe put her in the second one or something. We'll see.
Cool. Yep. And then with regards to the third team there with the Molly and everything, I know we talked about that unit a little bit. Anything that you kind of wanted to hit up on this as far as rune recommendations in addition to for the other units? Anything that has changed in the past from the last
Mm,
episode to this episode that you want to kind of highlight?
she like Molly, as I said before, she works well in OD. She works even better in GD because there's less monsters and she gets more turns, etc., etc. And it seems like Violent is supercharged in Guild Wars as well, so
Heck
even
yeah,
better.
I love it.
Uh, yeah, Jubel works well because he taunts, and he. I don't need the Darien in that comp. I don't know. I might try Darien as well, but Jubel provides for a very resilient, sort of tanky damage dealer. Mine is obvious. He's ruined HP, but he has some speed. He has pretty high base speed too, and he has like 92% crit damage. He does pretty well. And well, Veromos is Veromos. Like speed, my Veromos is sort of he's not really PvP because he has a defense rune for TOA hard. If you guys are using Veramos for TOA hard, put a defense rune on him. He's one of the monsters with the highest. He's top 5 in base defense in the game. He scales so well with defense, it's crazy. And just 1 HP rune, 1 defense rune, and a speed rune. Mine is at like 193 speed. He's pretty decent. I've gotten some crit damage and crit rate on him to supplement some of that damage. So he obviously Nemesis. So yeah, he does pretty well. So that's about it for this comp. I think I copied it off. I think it's Burke. I played against it once. I really liked it, and since I had the units, I'm like, let's try it.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of results. Kind of seen how he came up with it as well. They have really good synergy. So yeah, that's about it for that comp. And it puts off people. Like it seems easy, doesn't it? It's like it's all another Veramos comp in Guild Wars. It's not that simple. It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's some of these compositions that you look at like, oh, it's no big deal, which is what you want, as a Guild War defense, like the person
Yeah,
who's
exactly, exactly. You want
you
to
want them
trap.
to be, yeah, you want to trap them and you want to attract them and stuff like that. So, actually, that is a great, topic or whatnot. Let's talk about the Guild Wars trap defense in general. You've seen a lot of compositions over the course of you guys climbing up your guild, climbing up in the Guardian 3. You've been Guardian 3 consistently as far as Absolute Void goes. What would you say, maybe top two or top three? What is some of the top three best trap defense you've ever saw? You got to them, you're like, I'm a murder that setup, and then all of a sudden they just had a setup that just ramboozled you, right? What's some of the best trap defenses you've seen?
Well, I think Guild Wars scales ridiculously with runes. So if you have crazy runes, even the simplest monsters can destroy people because it's only 3. Like in Guild Wars, if you lose one monster, unless you already have an advantage in the fight, like HP advantage or whatever, you're gonna lose. So it's like those runes scale so well there because you can make comps like, let's say, the usual is Veramos Bella Verdehile. You wouldn't imagine how many times I've seen people and lost myself on those comps because they're just like so ridiculously fast, and then Verd does a lot of damage, and then Veramos gets a lucky. He gets a stun on 2 of your monsters, then you're fucked. You lost. You're done. So I think that's the top one. Absolutely. Veramos, Bella, uh, Verdehile, because it also has heal, it has everything you might need.
Cool.
Then other trap stuff. Mm, well, this one has Molly, so it's not that much of a trap, really. It's not hard, it's hard to get, but obviously that's a trap one as well. Anything that has, I've found that anything that has Veramos and maybe Bella in it, and then an attack booster. Those are great trap comps. Orion used to be a pretty good trap, but now everybody knows he's a monster, so it's
Yeah,
not really a trap.
it's old news, right? It's old news.
Just remember, if you find a comp that has good synergy and you have great runes for it, that's the general. And it's made of unassuming monsters like Verd or Bella. Like comps that don't look like they're going to dish out a crazy amount of damage are the ones that actually do in the end. That's maybe how I would put it on trap defenses.
Cool. Good deal. And so let's see. Moving on here, we talked a little bit about Arena. We talked a little bit about Guild Wars. Let's get to the latest and greatest dungeon. We got ourselves Necropolis B10. A lot of people have been playing around with a lot of comps. They just recently revamped it or whatnot. What's your take on it, and what's been kind of like the go-to comp for you as far as clearing Necropolis B10?
Uh, so they nerfed it. I cleared it and was farming it consistently before the nerf. But then they nerfed it and it was even easier, which I was kind of happy about because it was a bit too hard. So I'm happy that now more of the player base can actually clear it.
Right.
And I'm also happy that Com2As actually took the time to check their logs and actually nerf it because it was too hard, which is nice. It's nice to see the company listening in.
They are.
Uh,
They are. Yeah.
yeah, so that's one thing. So on comps, uh, I am not that bothered with Necropolis. Let's start with this. Is the best money farming. Like unless you do Varian speed comps on dragons,
Yeah,
which
three
I
second,
assume,
3 second dragon
yeah,
runs.
yeah, which I assume you don't. Uh, Necropolis is the most money you can make. There's only I think one rune set in there that costs really low. All the rest give you like 10k mana per run. So if you have a 2 to 3 minute comp, or even 3.5, maybe even 4. I don't remember the exact math, but it's pretty close, and you get a lot of money. It's like the best mana farming place right now. So if you can and you need like the runes in it, I suggest you do it. It's also nice because I've been sick of dragons all those months, so I actually like my team clearing Necropolis. I just like watching it sometimes. Like, yay,
Yeah, it's
something
interesting.
different.
So would
um,
the 3 minute be like the threshold as far as if you can clear it in 3 minutes, focus on that, but if you can't, stick to your
it also depends if you need the runes. Like, I
sure.
don't really need the runes from Necropolis. Maybe some will runes,
Hmm.
but I'd rather get some better violet ones and then work on will and stuff. But I did make a team on rune removal, like a better team. I was already doing it, but then I just fixed it, played around with it a bit more. My team is Shihua, the Fire Ninetails, Colleen, the Fire Harpoo, what else? Vigor, the Water Werewolf, Lynette, and Hua. Lynette is the Dark Magic Knight, and Hua is the Fire Rakshasha. So the way I've set it up is I use Shihua as leader, not Lynette for the speed, because the speed sort of it's only useful for the first 4 stages, but then on the boss I do want the damage as much as possible. I've heard a lot of people talk about violent in there and how it's really really important. The most important thing in there is revenge and speed tuning, not violent. Violent is just a bonus. You can't rely on it on PvE, so you can use it if you want. Like my Shihua used to be rage, but I made her violent, just because I had the runes lying around, and it seems like a decent alternative to rage. Since I use her as leader, she doesn't have damage already. I tested it and it worked, but I still think like violent is something unreliable. Revenge is much more reliable, higher chance, and if you have it on a lot of monsters, at least one is going to revenge most of the time. I have my revenge runes on Hua, Colleen, Vigor, and a triple revenge set on Lynette. So, for example, pretty much every turn Lynette counterattacks. So after the Lich uses his shield. So that's immediately instead of a 7 charge shield, that's a 4 charge shield. So that's crazy. Right away, you only need to do 4 hits, and then you're just damaging the boss.
Right.
Uh, it's very, very, very important to have an attack speed booster if possible. Doesn't matter that much, as the attack speed debuff. Attack speed doesn't work. Like the speed is, I think the speed cap in Necropolis B10 is 110, 112, something like that. So above 120, I found that above 123, 124, if there is an attack speed on the Lich, all units will take 2 turns. Will manage to take 2 turns, and then the Lich will go. If you notice, all my units have, I think, 124 and above. I think Hua is the slowest.
Right.
And if you're using Hua as your attack speed debuffer, you want Hua to be your slowest unit. Yeah, 122. So that's the cap. That's when she gets 2 turns before the attack speed. So that's perfect. So yeah, if you want Hua to be your attack speed debuffer, she has to go last. The thing is, I've made my Shihua and my Hua rather close. So if in speed, so if the debuff is down, which it usually is, both Shihua and Hua will get to do damage on the boss and maybe apply dots in both of them, in both of their cases, and the branding effect by Shihua. So I kind of use 2.5 nukers because Lanette's third skill, when she does to do it, when she gets to do it on the boss, which is often usually during the second turn of the attack speed debuff turn, she does like ridiculous amounts of damage with her
Mm-hmm.
third skill because of the max HP and it heals.
Yeah, healing
So
is really nice.
yeah, I sort of run a triple threat comp. Vigor also buffs attack speed, which also gives you extra turns. So that's the general policy of Necropolis. It's all about speed tuning on the boss, which it's mostly about the boss. Like the previous stages are kind of easy. The thing I've done to help with the previous stages is I put a resistance. I put a resistance rune on my Colleen because I don't really care about HP. She never dies, but with some resistance, she manages to resist most of the stuns from the stupid crystals, the dark crystals.
Right.
So that way she's always up and about and healing and stuff. So that's all. That's good. I put a defense rune on my Hua. She also kept dying. Defense is better instead of HP in this regard. First of all, because that defense rune is crazy. Second of all, because there's so many dots, so you'd rather have defense. Nothing in Necropolis does that much damage, but they put all those dots up. So if you have a lot of HP, if you don't have a heal or anything like uh, Vigor and Colleen do, or a self heal like Shiwa does, you're kind of it's kind of scary for you in there. So defense is a bit better instead of HP. Uh, I think that's about it. It's just remember speed tuning and attack speed debuffs and buffs if possible, and multi-hit first skills also.
Yep, definitely strong. And it's funny because we see a lot of comps out there that are made up with two healers. I like the vigor using him here because it seems like his second skill is conditional to similar to Bella, where he's not going to cast a skill until he has somebody low hit points. So it's kind of like a nice safeguard.
It happens though a lot, especially in the boss. Like Hua or Shihua go a bit low. He uses a skill. GG.
Hmm.
Also, oh, I forgot about this. The usual speed leads in Necropolis are obsolete. So since you don't have speed, the resistance and what's the other one? Accuracy, because debuffs are really important in Necropolis. You want you want resistance is good uh, for the stages up to the boss because it helps you resist all the dots and the stuns that it clear faster. And on the boss, maybe the debuffs on the mind control unit if it has some, which is also nice. But accuracy is also another really good stat that helps you out because you can focus on other stats that you might want more. As you can see, my vigor, for example, has an accuracy rune because I want him to land that unrecoverable when he can. I want him to land the defense break because it's my only defense break, and I don't care about his HP that much. Like he's never ever died, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But yeah, so those leads, if you have them, like Praha lead is interesting. Uh, Even the Wind Vampire I've thought, but he doesn't really have multi hit, so that's kind of sad. But yeah, resistance and accuracy leads are plenty interesting in there.
Good deal.
And also, Light Rakshasa is broken for that instance. Seriously,
Oh man, yeah.
she is so good
My
for it.
guildie at Kuho has it. I think I've seen a comp out there. Freaknation.
One of my guild is yeah. He has Ciara and Pang, the Light Rakshasa. He does it in 150 or some 2 minutes or something. It's crazy.
It's nasty.
Yeah, because the buffs never go away, so the debuffs never go away. So you just yeah attack speed forever.
Yeah. Good game. Good game. Cool. Let me see here. So I think it was about 1 week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, that we just recently had, um, a nice couple of units that came on board. Some of the Halloween units that they've been kind of incorporating with the upcoming holiday. I was gonna ask you, I recently made a video just kind of, highlighting my ones to watch or whatnot. But, out of all the units that you see, what's the one that kind of gets you excited the most? What's the one that really wants you want to get and kind of incorporate into one of your teams?
None of
None of
them.
them. Come on.
In my current state, I don't really need any of them, but I can see a lot of them working. The jack o' lanterns are interesting, especially the fire and the water one. The water one I can see working very well for people who are trying to get Bella out of the dragon or on their face only dragon comp, but they can't because they don't have other buff removal. Like I know some people have run like Verd, Veramos, Perna, Bella, something, Megan, I think, something like that. No, no, Galleon. So if you run Bella Galleon, Bella Megan, you can replace that with Chilling. This guy, yeah, he's cute. Chilling and Galleon, for example. So then you have crit rate, attack speed, and attack buffs, and you have very reliable buff removal because he has chances to both decrease attack speed and increase attack speed depending on the beneficial effects on you. And he steals a beneficial effect, and he has a multi-hit attack, so he steals a benefit. He has like triple the chances of removing a beneficial effect from the dragon. That's the immunity. So that I can see that one as a really, really, really good Dragons B10 face only comp, a monster. Uh, that's the use I've. Like, also, he can be really good in single target AO comps. I think
Yeah.
you can use him, remove the buffs of that on one target, nuke that target, proceed with the rest.
Yeah, That's actually
Uh,
the multiple attack plus the passive was what really kind of intrigued me. I wasn't sure if you had anybody in the guild that has been able to test them out because I mean, there's no like a percentage here that shows if it's going to steal it or not, and relying on accuracy, whatever. But with the fact that it hits 3 times, I'm hoping that it's 3 different triggers, 3 different attempts to
It
steal the
is.
benefit.
It is. It is.
Okay,
It is. I've
confirmed.
a person, a friend of a guildie has it, and he removes debuffs on the first, the third, or the second attack. It doesn't matter.
Cool.
So it's a multi-hit attack. It's a multi-pronged effect, I guess. The fire one is interesting as well for Necropolis this time, because he has a three-hit basic attack, which is always a good bonus, and he has a decent multi-hit second attack, and he deals glancing hit, which is nice. And then the third one also has 2 times. Uh, from what I remember, I think he doesn't decrease defense. He only decreases HP recovery. I think that was a mistake in the tooltip. I'm not sure if it's a mistake in the tooltip or a bug in the game. So if he actually has a chance to decrease defense as well, he just doesn't do it. Uh,
That's a
he
shame.
has an HP leader. He has an HP leader for dungeons. So Necropolis, you can use that for sure. 33%, crazy good leader if you want him. So yeah, Smokey I think is one of the better Necropolis. The but bad thing is that he can't really replace Hua until you max killed him because the attack speed debuff is just so low activation rate. I don't know how high it gets with skill ups if it goes up to Hua is 80% if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 80.
Yeah, 80. That's crazy. If he goes up to 80, I'd consider him. If he doesn't, maybe you can actually couple him with Hua and make Hua an all-out nuker instead of a sort of hybrid debuffer slash damage dealer, and then you go full nuker on Hua and have him as the with accuracy and stuff. Have him as the shield remover and attack speed debuffer.
Good deal.
But yeah, he's. I don't think some people have said he replaces Hua. I think he works well with Hua, sort of, instead of replacing her.
I like it, sir. I like it. And with regards to all the changes that have come on since episode 6 that we did our last interview, um, what what do you feel if there was something that you would like to see changes? Obviously, been a lot of changes for the better and some for the worse. But if there was one thing to change, what would it be and why at this time?
Mm, hmm. Good one. Good question. What is the one thing that's changed and I like? Besides my luck?
Right.
um, Obviously, the community has gone bigger. I like that since we first started. It's much bigger now. That's nice, uh, especially for us streamers. The other thing like that actually changed in the game, I like how they bring out more monsters more often.
Sure.
It's not too often as well. Like they do it at before we would get like new monsters on September and then we'd get new monsters again on I don't know, March. That's a huge margin. But now we get fewer but more often. I like that. It's not too often as well, and it's not always, and it's pretty. It's well thought out. I like how they are building on the already existing monsters. Like they had one monster with a branding effect, and then the next batch of monsters have like all of them have branding effects to in order to expand that skill within the game, have more monsters, more options for players. Since the skill sets seem to be more well thought out in the new monsters, even though they don't do like the Frankenstein's, for example, are pretty useless.
Right.
Like the multipliers are pretty eh. But it's well thought out. Like all the new most of the new monsters, they serve very well in Necropolis. They give HOHs that help with Necropolis, like the Magic Knight. Um, yeah, it's they. I like the Necropolis change a lot because it decreases the chances of getting violent. No matter what people say, I've gotten so many more violent runes from dragons now, and also it's nice to see new things and monsters that were never used before actually finally finding uses for them. So I guess the increase in variability and flexibility is what I like since we changed, and also the arena meta. I like that it changes. I
Good.
thought
Yeah.
we would be stuck in Devolution and Bruiser comps forever and ever, but
Yeah. That was
it's
nice to see it
it's
change.
fluid. I think Galleon changed that for the most part. Like Galleon was a
Galleon broke that. You mean?
yeah, Galleon completely broke the meta. It broke the game. He's crazy, and I'm so glad that they gave us that pirate captain HOH. That was also really cool
Good
to
to know.
max him. He's so much like he has two 100% activation, 100% activation defense breaks. One of them AOE. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta love it. You gotta love it. Let me see here. So, kind of wrapping this one up, we got a lot of people that have caught the original video and heard a little bit about you and your Twitch stream and kind of what you do, but you kind of want to fill people in on, where you're currently at now with your streaming channel, maybe typically the times you're on and whatnot, so they can kind of get on board with that.
Oh yeah. Actually, on that, I switched from Twitch to Camcord.
Okay.
Camcord is a new streaming platform. I think it's like 6 months old. I don't remember how much, but they're new. They approached me. I said yes, primarily because it was an actual contract. Also because I like I like the idea of it's a mobile streaming platform. It's mostly for mobile games like Clash of Clans, and they want to start on Summoners War. I think there was a Reddit post by the guy who actually recruited me saying they need streamers and saying about talking about Camcord. So you can go on Reddit and check that out. About me, I actually have a streaming schedule now. I've been sick the last couple of days, so I didn't stream, but I stream Sunday to Thursday, 11 o'clock GMT plus 2. So that's 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. That's 1 p.m. West Coast, 3 p.m. East Coast, US time. And I stream for a couple to 3 hours. So I'm on Camcord. You can if you don't follow Camcord that much, you can I'll give Childish my Facebook and my Twitter. handle. I always post on those before I start streaming, so you can follow me there and find out when I stream if you or when I'm actually streaming. So yeah, that's about it. I'm trying to build up the community again, in in the new platform. Other than that, shout out as always to my guild and to you for keeping up this awesome content always. Thank you for that, and for giving me the opportunity to do this again.
Yeah, not a problem at
Uh,
all.
yeah, so I think that's about it.
Yep,
Thanks a
and
lot, man.
not a problem. And thank you again. Like so, I said, as I put it in a couple of videos, but I want to make it clear here too. We've always had a handful of people that have questioned me on the side and be like, oh, you know what, Childish, I can't believe you haven't interviewed this guy. Like he's number one or he's number two, he's number three. It's not about, who's number one, who's number two, or who should get recognition for that. It's the people that have the knowledge and experience in the game that actually want to not just improve their gameplay, but share that knowledge with the community and help the community grow. That's why I have the people that we have on board. That's why we're doing this educate and dominate. Because
Hmm.
initially, when I started,
Yes.
I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn more, and fast forward
Look how
7.
far look how far you've
Yeah,
come now.
yeah, I
Like
know.
yeah, I remember you were asking me like questions a lot, but you're a very fast learner. Like I have to admit, but you're the example of a person who wants to learn and wants you're what your viewers should be if they're already not that.
There you go.
So
After all that I've learned,
props to you, man.
I finally moved up to fighter 2, baby. I finally got to the fighter 2. That's what this
Hey,
appreciation guys.
don't knock on fighter two people.
I
Come on,
know, right? We
they're
all were
people
there.
too, man.
We all were there. Yeah, no. Shout out to
Yes,
all my
of course.
fighter 1s, 2s, and 3s. Oh man, but yeah, no. Thank you again for coming on board, and thank you guys all for supporting myself and Karanthir. Make sure to check out the top right part of our screen so you can see all of his links and whatnot, so you can check out his streaming in the future, guys. So again, thank you all for tuning in. It's your boy Childish and Karanthir with Childish Plays checking out. Take care, and we will see you next time. We're out.
See ya.